welcome to the Commissioner's Corner for September, our final segment. Love that name, Julie. We're going to talk about Summit Cove and the project that's been going on in Summit Cove for the last couple of years and where we are with that. Thomas, you live in Summit Cove.
Yeah, sure.
If nobody knew, Thomas lives in Summit Cove, so feel free to drop by. Open door policy.
Exactly. So we've been working for the last 2 years on improvements to roads and trails throughout the Summit Cove neighborhood. This summer, the big project was in front of Summit Cove Elementary, and we'd gotten a grant, a Safe Route to Schools grant, to do a certain amount of this work. And so now if you go in front of Summit Cove, we've completely redone how the parking and the pathway works, and it is much safer. Mm-hmm. And so, we're wrapping this portion of this multi-year project up, and it's turned out great.
Yep. And it's been, I will say, eye-opening, to say the least, in terms of the condition of the subgrade surface for these roads within Summit Cove. It has been far more than what we anticipated when we decided we're going to take this project on and rebuild some roads and so forth. It has been far more involved than what we would have hoped for. But at the end of the day, everybody's getting
more money.
Yes, everybody's getting wonderful new roads within that community, and so we've got another probably 2 years, maybe 3 years worth of work. Next year, I think the causeway is the main part of the project, or getting from where it ends through the causeway is the main piece of the project for next year.
Yeah.
So, and do you drive it, or you just avoid that section altogether at this point? We're trying to center in on where specifically you live within the Cove, Joe. So.
Just follow the bright green path. Right?
Yeah, exactly. No.
So anyway, Summit Cove will be, I think, is certainly enjoying the outcome of the projects. I know that it can be tiring to have construction like that going on within the neighborhood, but rest assured we're trying to do it right so that we don't have to come back in anytime soon to do any more repairs as well.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's see. The other topic we want to talk about is ambulance. So who wants to talk a little bit about background around the EMS and ambulance system within the county, and then where we are most recently? Anybody?
Well, we've been working for a while to try to put all of our resources together. Summit County has operated the ambulance service for many, many years, but we have fire districts that also have a lot of resources, and they respond primarily to emergencies, non-fire emergencies. So it just made sense to put all of these resources together to make most efficient use of these resources. And it's not been an easy course because the fire district and the ambulance service have operated a little differently, but we're making progress.
Mm-hmm. Who else would like to
talk about the agreement?
Yeah, that's fine. I'll jump in. So as Karn said, this has been a process over the course of several years. Most recently, as many people are probably aware, there were some significant challenges with Red, White, and Blue Fire District and how they would or would not respond to certain types of calls. So primarily out-of-county transport activity. And so there'd been a lot of conversation about how could we get that resolved. Ultimately, the county commissioners voted to terminate the intergovernmental agreement, or the mutual aid agreement that was in place with Red, White, and Blue. That set an end date for their agreement in August. We continue to have conversations and negotiations with Red, White, and Blue and with their board. Fortunately for everybody involved, because we really do believe in this partnership approach across EMS, fortunately we were able to come to an agreement. It's temporary in nature, but it runs essentially from September the 1st through the 30th of April. It allows, or it sets an expectation for Red, White, and Blue that they're going to increase the amount of out-of-county transports that they conduct through that period of time. which is significantly more transports than they've done historically. They may or may not hit it. There's just sort of a cap number in there. And we'll see how things play out in reality, whether they hit that cap number or not. But we're very happy to have gotten to the point where we came to an agreement with everybody. And part of the conversations that we've been having with Lake Dillon and Copper, Red, White, and Blue, and then and within Summit County Ambulance are around doing a somewhat exhaustive study and analysis of EMS within Summit County and what is the best deployment of our resources, what's the most cost-effective way for us to provide these services within the community without sacrificing the quality of care, the responsiveness that people have grown accustomed to, and the reliability that we all want to see within an EMS system.
And not just for ambulance service, but also for fire response.
Absolutely.
And the other things that they do in terms of hazmat and all the rest.
We want to make sure that what's happening with EMS, with ambulance transport activity, is not having any kind of a negative effect on fire districts or the rest of that all-hazard response that's taking place within the community.
Yeah.
So we want to do a very exhaustive review of that system. Our hope and expectation is that we're going to begin that process very soon, and that we'll be working with all three of the other partners, the fire districts, in developing the scope of work, developing the request for proposals, selecting a consultant, and then working cooperatively throughout the entire process to come up with a final recommendation or set of recommendations for how we should be doing EMS in Summit County. And then that would lead to longer term agreements with all of the fire districts beyond that April 30th date that we have with Red, White, and Blue currently. So that's our goal, and hopefully we're able to achieve that goal in the near term.
I think it's important for everyone to know that you may be hearing about some of our struggles coming to consensus and some disagreements, but there has never been patient safety at risk. And on the ground, all of these entities work together so well. So there has not been any safety concerns. It's more, how do we use our resources best? How do we work out some of the financial agreements? And this is something that's going on all around the country. We're not the only ones doing this, but every place in the country you have a different situation with fire districts, and in some cases private services that actually work in high density population areas. So every place is different, and our process has been different from all of our neighboring counties.
Yeah, no doubt. Summit County is unique in the type of patients that we get and the amount of activity of taking patients and transporting them from our community to other higher levels of care. Right. And again, we take that very seriously, and we want to make sure that we have the right capacity to be able to continue that service at a high level. And again, look forward to continuing to work with our partners on just that, and how do we do that the best that we can. So, any other comments on that one?
I'm just anxious and looking forward to that study, that analysis, to really figure out what's best for patient safety, what's best for the taxpayer, and big picture, what are our combined resources, whether it's county or fire, and let's mesh all that together and figure out what's the best.
Right,
So, absolutely.
and efficient.
And efficient,
All right, good. On that note, this inaugural edition of the newly named Commissioner's Corner comes to a close, and so thank you for sticking with us, and stay tuned to SCTV 10 for lots of other great local programming.